Hey y'all, Eric Adcock, This Awkward Life, coming to you from vacation. Uh, didn't want to. I've been scheduling my podcast, which is good, and so I'm not going. Diverge from that. I'm going to keep doing it. So actually, I'm trying to record this um, using my AirPods. So we'll see how it goes. So if there's a little bit difference in audio, forgive me. Um, Being first is a big thing in the world. It's everything. There's a famous movie line that said, "Well, if you're not first, you're last." And yeah, so a lot of people live by that. Unfortunately, it's in everything we do, whether it's a job, sports, um, Bible quizzing. If you're not first, you're last sometimes. In the eyes of most people, the first mentality is in everything. So, but first is not always the best. First is not always the way to go. Recently, I was reminded of this. I had given somebody had called me about some insurance. For those that don't know, I sell insurance, have an insurance agency. This podcast is brought to you by the Adcock Agency. Anyway, but so I'd given a couple quotes, and this particular quote I'd given, I worked hard. And I was first. I was the first one to turn in the quote, and I didn't really know that there was anybody else because they had called me, and I assumed that I was the only, agency that was quoting. But whether I've been only the only agency or there've been 20 agencies, I try to turn around stuff pretty quick. I try to work hard, get quotes in and things like that. So I turned around a pretty sizable quote in a matter of a week and a half. When he's talking about properties and uh, you know multiple buildings and personal property inside, and he's talking about the liability side of it. Not to mention, some professional liability, protect the church, stuff like that. It can be a pretty big thing. And but I was quick and I worked hard and I turned it in. And then after I turned it in, I was told, well, we're waiting on some more quotes. Okay. I'm like, okay, cool. That's fine. No problem. Because I always thought first was the best. Bible doesn't really say that. It says the first shall be last, the last shall be first. And in this case, that was the way it worked. Um, and in insurance, a lot of times when someone sees the first quote, if the second or third agent can get a look at that quote, they can kind of, maybe manipulate it a little bit, maybe change it around or whatever. Uh, Not saying this is what happened with this one. They could have had a better rate. They could have had all that. But once you see the first quote, there's always some changes that can be made. And so when you're looking for apples, that's a big term in insurance. Apples for apples. I want apples for apples. And another means they mean if one building is insured for X amount of dollars, you don't want to cut the insurance rate to drop the premium, if that makes any sense. So, but anyway, so I found out late in the game that I was not the only agent involved, and lo and behold, another agency or another company beat me out, which I have a hard time with. Just to be honest with you, because I always felt like if you worked hard and you um, try to be as quick as possible, that you should get the business. But obviously, it didn't work out that way. Try again later, but not all. First is not always the winner. It's not. I know several people that's waited 15, 20 years for positions in offices and in businesses and companies, and they waited 15, 20 years and finally got uh, what they um, what they wanted, what they needed. And so being there first isn't always the best. And young people, it doesn't sometimes. When I was younger, let me just say this: when I was younger, it didn't bother me as much to come in second or third because I felt like I had a lot of time. Looking at it at 52, I hate coming in second or third. I really do. I hate that because I know that um, I'm getting. As someone said one time, you're no spring chicken. So the older I get, I realize that second and third sometimes can be bad. But I do know that first isn't always the best. And sometimes you need to be second or third. Not that you're portraying a losing attitude, but sometimes it takes some time to step back and really see um, what's going on. So just remember, guys, just because you didn't get first doesn't mean that uh, God's not for you. There's always a reason. There's always a reason. So first isn't always the best. Sometimes coming in second or third, uh, it really helps. In this case, it helped me with an attitude or whatever. So just remember, guys, first isn't always the best, and um, there's a reason for everything. So work hard, play hard, study hard, be aggressive, score at the table. But anyway, don't get discouraged. Sometimes second place is a pretty good place uh, because it helps you to appreciate that. Someone said one time their secret to success was being able to sustain rejection and defeat, and during all that to keep enthusiasm. So I'm learning that. I'm learning that although you don't win, it helps build character, and it helps. There's a shout out to my man Chris Collier. It helps build character and staying enthusiastic during those times is what makes you a winner. Ain't that something? Makes you a winner. But anyway, so um, on vacation, trying to keep this podcast going, and the folks that really enjoy it, I appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.